Hello, welcome. I'm Valgan. I do a bunch of tutorial videos for Udon related things on VRChat. I also do a bunch of prefabs and tools for people to use, as well as some off-platform work, such as developing like UI for normal Unity development on different projects. But today, we're going to be continuing the UI commission that I was working on previously, in which basically we're building an entire menu system for VRChat with a simple extensible menu right here where you can select from your options, go to your pages, and then tell it what elements will be on each page. This is actually all working. So this part of it works completely fine. And now we're plugging everything together with a lot of the visual tuning that I have set up for it. I actually spent a good amount of time today just handling the styling. So we have a little drop down for what style we want our stuff to be. So you can see that this drop down here goes through a few different options. And that's all through a, where is it here? There we go. My style palette and style library. So this style library is basically, think of CSS stuff for web development, but a lot more limited in what it can do. So this is the styles for labels, and they give exactly this. This has color, font, and font size. That's what you can control for it. What we see for those paneling, the paneling that I was showing there, we actually have image styles, which is what I have the most of, but we also have things like button styles, toggle styles. Actually, I don't have one in here yet. I probably should, actually. Not that I actually use real toggles. I use the toggle component, but not any of its visuals. Same for sliders, actually. Drop downs I think I do use. Yeah, I do. Hey, welcome. So I was just showing off a bit of the styling tools I got here, but that's all working now. So what we're actually doing today is plugging in my tweening system. So tweening, for those who aren't aware, is short for between. It like goes between two different states. So imagine my cube is here and I want to animate it over here. Well, I could make an animation that does exactly that. Or I could set up a looping code system that goes from here to here over a set amount of time with some custom parameters and stuff. And what I've actually done is build out an entire general system for handling those kinds of tweens. So let me pull it up here. Do I have a tween module in the scene? I do not yet. But we have a tween action here, which is what we're actually going to be working on today. Let me go ahead and just pop a Wooey tween manager into here. So do this there. That is Twitter, not tween. There we go. So as you can see, there's nothing to interface with. This is because this does all of the handling internally. We can, it has a few different extensions in it for just like raw setting the X, Y, and Z position of something. But also, here, everything's basically a massive array of 100 values. And all of these get used at runtime. So it can manage up to 100 tweens at once. No, you'll probably never hit that unless you're doing something absolutely broken. But yeah, it loops through all the options, but down here is where the good stuff is. So if we want to tween the position of something, we just call this wooey tween position, pass in a target, the value, how long it'll take, and what ease method to use. So easing is, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it, but essentially it's information of how to get from 0 to 1. Now, linear is just a straight line. So you increase at the same amount every frame until you get to that position. But there's a lot of fancy curves that you can do to get like a bounce effect or other kind of nice little visual niceties from it. Now, unfortunately, this is what's called math, and I hate it. These are all the different types of tweens that are built in, and basically you call this perform ease by which ease and what value between 0 and 1. And oh boy, this is a pile of math calculations. It's awful. However, most of this is from easings.net. So actually, I can quickly do this. There we go. So it's that. Here we go. So this is easings.net. They have a full open library of all of the different types of tweens that you can do. And, well, at least all of the really common ones. I think this website is meant to be used for web development. That's okay. Yeah, I figured this was going to be the one you were referencing. But what I essentially did for my setup was I just copied all of their code examples and broke them out into variations. So let's say we want ease in quad. That math calculation is right down here for x times x. And yeah, so basically we just converted this into a massive switch statement that was terrifying. But it's up and working now. And yeah, I'm going to be honest, I don't know what a lot of these magic numbers are. Most of them are variations of pi and tau and stuff, but I don't really know. Oh crap, how does this song keep showing up in my... I do not like this one. What is it called? Quiet Forest Kirby 64. There we go. Easy. But yeah, so we'll be interfacing with this tweening system and these tweening actions over here with a new component. So right now, we love magic concept. Yeah. So right now, this whole system works. We can in fact just take a function and do tween position x, and this will run perfectly fine. But we need to implement that on a script by script basis, which can be a little bit annoying for the end user. So what I'm actually going to set up today is a tween action. So there we go. Essentially, I just copied all of the things that are being stored as arrays up here. There we go. And we're going to be turning this into a selectable action with a bunch of customizations in a list in the inspector. Then your code can just say run tween x or y or something like that. So with that, I've been actually working on the property drawer for this. So if we head into Unity here, and we'll let it compile. I have a game object in here that's just called game object because I was speeding along with this. But example tween action. So you see we have title, we have ease, we have tween type, and we have target. This target exists because we have selected position. If I select something else, it's not there because it's just available on position right now. I need a drink. Ugh. There we go. Yeah, so you can hit plus, you can have a bunch of other ones. I think I'll probably drop title because I want all of these to run at once when you hit it. So let's go ahead, drop that, drop this, and drop that. And now we implement everything else. This is going to be a little annoying, but it's fine, whatever. All right, so we have our object field here for target. Then we want vector 3 start position, vector 3 end position. So vector 3 field start, vector 3. Let me do field start vector 3 bind property. Is this? Oh, start vector 3. And then type fields container add field start vector 3. So, excuse me. We're gonna have to rearrange how I'm setting this up once we start getting into the other options. But for now, we'll work out as we're testing things. If I set this to rotation and this one to local position, these fields only show up on the first one. Which is perfect. Now we want to add in the rest of them. So what all do we care about for running a tween for the position? So if we call tween position, all right, value, duration, and ease. Yeah, so I think we'll have duration near the top because everything has a duration. Which is honestly makes it nice and easy. We'll have a float field. Duration. Okay, so we're gonna have to add a float for duration on this. Public float duration. I'll duplicate this, replace active with duration. So now we should see another float field in here, pops up when the compile is done. Awesome, right here. Now we need end position. And I think that's it for our position. Okay, so now you may notice that a lot of things here like position XYZ and then local position and rotation and scale, they're all going to be referencing the same transform. So I can't just, I'm not going to copy paste this in every single one. Well, for one, I can't do that because this is a switch statement and it doesn't let me name it that. So I think what I'm going to do is make a bunch of fields for these up here and then only use them if we need them. Or I could have a function for that. Yeah, it might make sense to have a function for that. So we'll have a float field float so if we want to do that for okay, let's do it with something we actually have right now. So vector 3, we need a serialized property, prop, string label, and a visual element parent. So we'll do a vector 3 field equals vector 3 with label, bind property, oops, field, there we go, bind property, parent, nope, prop. No, I want prop. Don't autofill that. And then parent.add field and return field. So I think, what is going to be the best layout for this? So instead of doing this, I think we just pre-declare all these variable names up here. And yeah, okay. So this is going to look a little stupid what I'm doing right now, but I swear it makes sense. Okay, so we're going to copy all that. Okay, and we'll do it with keys as well. I think we'll not do it with these down here, since any ones that we're using are going to be handled up here and won't need a bunch of manual handlings for that. Okay, so F vector 3, this takes property, start position, and field type field container. And this will do the actually, I'm gonna swap the order of this. I want label to be first, because that's what I keep trying to do. So I'm just gonna lean into that. Field start vector 3, field end vector 3. You know, we don't even really need to return this. It should honestly just be fine to do yeah, okay. I'm just doing F for field because it'll make some things shorter. What's good? Hey, welcome. We are setting up a bunch of automation for some UI animations. So we have a full tweening system already built out here that I really like, and honestly, it just kind of gets more features as I play with it. But it's not very user accessible. It's great for someone who's writing code, but if you just want to like fiddle with something in the inspector, then yeah, it's not ideal. So we're setting up a custom tool to do that much easier. So in that case, I think we can actually just drop that. A lot of things that we don't really need to worry about here. End position there. And we want the same thing here, but instead of vector 3, we'll have target. This will have another variable, which will be type, object type. I think that's system.type. Probably. Object field, and then field dot object type equals object type. Yeah, okay. So system type is the right one. So we'll f target prop transform target. There we go. and then type of transform. I'm missing something. Excuse me. The container. That's it. I'll change the order of this. I'll do type fields container. Yeah, okay. Instead of doing that, be good to go. And now we repeat this process a lot. So for position X, what we're actually going to be doing is getting a float instead of a vector 3. So let's duplicate this and do a float. And actually, while I'm down here, let's just do vector 2 as well. I'll do the last ones that I'm missing. So we'll have a quaternion. Is it rotation field? How does Unity handle that? What is their drawer for quaternions? Not that I actually want to use a drawer for quaternions. I'm going to use a drawer for the Euler angles for the vector 3. So it's probably not worth me looking into. Oh, it's right. It's just a friggin' vector 4. Vector 4 field. Okay. So we're gonna have to have some actual callbacks in this one because I don't want people to have to type in a quaternion. So we'll do a vector 3 field, and instead of binding the property, we'll have field.onValue changed. There we go. Register. And here we will do prop dot quaternion value equals quaternion Euler, and I'll be from EVT new value, and then as object dot apply modify properties. Yep. And then we need to do field dot set value without notify, and this will be prop dot nope. It will be prop dot quaternion value dot Euler angles. So instead of F quaternion, since it's not going to display a quaternion, we'll do F rotation because screw it. We'll just do F Euler with Euler. All right. Right. So we want floats there. Now we'll do Y and Z. Hey, well, welcome. We are doing some fleshed out tooling for getting our UI animations going. The whole thing is in a custom tweening setup that I built, and I'm really liking how it's working. I just need it to be a little bit more user accessible. So I'm building out some tooling that makes that happen. So if we look in the inspector, if let's say we want to run a tween, which is just where you blend two things together from one to another, a bunch of options here for doing exactly that. So let's say when you run this tween, so this wooey tween action, let's go from position left to right. So let's pick our animation type. Well, we have a lot of them here, but we don't actually care about this right now. But if we want to animate the position, or like the position X, the position Z, we can give two different things, position left and then position right, and do a bunch of values there. And when we run this, it will animate it on whatever target we do. Which, let's just do itself for sake of brevity. This doesn't actually run yet. We're still working out the editor tooling for it, but plugging it in will be incredibly simple, since, well, all of it's still there. Alright, so local position. Yeah, I think we don't need to change anything else there. Script was happy you enjoy. I very much enjoy helping things make sense for people, and if fiddling around with this for far too long does that, more than happy to. All right. Oh wait. I'm gonna call that Quaternion instead of Euler, just because it lets me copy paste a lot of things more easily. Which is the big thing that I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to save time. Because there's a lot of repetition in what I have to do here. But yeah. So this will be vector 3. Oops. So start, scale, and end scale. And color will be the same thing. But this color works on... What does color work on? I think it's just a image component. Is that, am I wrong? Scale, color, yeah, okay, that uses an image, so type of image. Prop, target, image, go. And these will be set vector 3, it'll be color. Oh, did I not make a color one? I thought I did. F color, this will be a color field. Find that, add that, perfect. Start color, end color. Group canvas alpha. So this is basically blending the transparency of a large group of UI elements. So we'll go ahead and do, instead of prop target image, we'll do prop target canvas group. What did I call that? Oh, I just called it group. No, I want to call that canvas group. There we go. That'll make things make a lot more sense. Instead of color, we'll have float, start alpha, and end alpha. And down here we got layout element min width, min height. So honestly, we can just do the same thing here. But instead of doing canvas group, we'll do layout element. Oh, did I call that something? Oh, I just called it friggin' element. Why do I keep shortening these things? I'm making it harder for myself. Target layout element. There we go. Import that for this. Min width and min width. And just swap out the word width for height. And here we'll do, instead of layout elements, we'll do rect transform. And rect transform width. So swap out that for width. Copy this over and swap out the wording there for height. And rect transform anchor position is the last one. What on earth does that do? Is that a vector 2 for an anchor position? Anchor position. There we go. Yep, that takes a vector 2. So vector 2. Start position and end position. Whoops. Okay, well, undo that. And then I put it there. Perfect. All right. So this whole UI. Hold on. Let me fix that. There we go. Now they're all slammed together. Been keeping up to date with some of the recent live streams on the progress of the menu system. Really just come a long way. Looking forward to the release. I am also looking forward to the release. I want to be done with this. I think the tool is really cool and people should use it, but they can't use it unless I've finished it. But we are getting there. Okay. So we got this system here. We want to change this from position to position X, position Y, position Z, local position X. The problem with creating new things, never know when to call it. I know, right? This one needs to be finished, though. I have... Technically, it's on commission, so... it's coming along, and there isn't, like, a hard due date for them, but I want to be done with this so I can move on to other tasks. So local rotation, scale, color. Oh, crap, I didn't even... Sorry, I didn't even parse the username. Hi, welcome. Yes, this is in fact your commission. Yes. It's actually been interesting because I have another contract job where I'm working on tooling to automate the creation of a menu, which is a strange amount of overlap for exactly this project, but it's outside of VRChat. Like, it's for a toolkit for developing VR software called Basis, and I'm basically making the entire menu system for that. And there is a lot of overlap between these two tasks, and since that project is completely open source, I've been using a lot of what I've done there for this as well, and vice versa. So the new style system that I have for completely styling all of the UI, I'm basically using the same thing in both systems. Yeah. Actually, I guess I can show that off a little bit. So we got the, let's say we have this sidebar here. I want this sidebar to be a specific color. Well, this sidebar actually has something on it called a UI style image. And this gives you a drop down here of a bunch of different ones. So page list, background. I want it to be the slider fill for some reason, but doesn't make sense. Page list is what this background is. Now, page list, the title for that, actually comes from this object here, the style palette. Wait, no, the style library. There we go. And since that is a UI image component, or UI style image, we can go to the image styles here and add and remove any styles that we want for a specific image. So we have page tab, which has the title, the color, the sprite, and the pixels per unit multiplier. That's used to adjust the rounding of corners. So if I click on this a bunch, there we go. This pixels per unit multiplier changes how round this corner is. I haven't really figured out a good mathematical equation for what radius to use. I've mostly just been eyeballing it each time. And that can be set into the restrictions on this. So if I look at my WUI element, there we go. This has pixels per unit multiplier of 3. And that gets you exactly this radius right here. Now all these styles you see has a color on it. So it has this drop down of a bunch of different colors. And all of those colors are available here on this palette object, which has a bunch of bespoke preset color options. So you have background colors 1, 2, and 3, font colors 1, 2, and 3, button color, some references for white, clear, and black, and so on and so forth. But let's say you don't want to use those. You can actually go over to the library and change it from palette to custom, and you just write in whatever color you want here. And every change that you make to this immediately updates to the scene. So I want to change this to my accent color. Well, now everything's bright blue. Honestly, wait, that doesn't actually look bad. Things to think about later. But it's actually working out pretty well, and I'm quite literally using this exact system, only with a few slight udon adjustments in the other one. I guess it's going to need some pretty extensive how-to docs. Yes, it is very powerful, and I feel that it's very user-friendly. It just isn't user-learnable off the bat, so it's definitely going to have some documentation. There's also one other thing that I need to adjust. So when you have your style, like, oh, this is the palette you're using, this is the library you're using. Well, the way that Unity knows that is you right-click up here and click on a button that actually doesn't show up on stream. So that just says set as active style. And that lets you have multiple of these style assets in your project. I'm just going to make there be a button at the top that does that. I just haven't done that yet, but eventually. I need some water. Excuse me. But yeah, let's head back to the tweening stuff. You think people are going to like it? Nice. You'll love to see it. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's tween the position of this cube. Let's have both of these be -2. Let's have this be that and then that. And I don't know, sure. Those are a bunch of different numbers. But at the same time, let's tween its scale. Let's do that. Let's set all these to 1 and all these to 2. Duration, 1 second. Okay, so now we need this to actually do stuff. This is basically a big store of information at the moment. Oh, actually. Okay, so there's a few things in here we don't need. We don't need whether or not it's active because that's a runtime thing. Start time and end time, also runtime. Use custom curve and custom curve. That we'll need in the inspector, and these callback targets will also need to be there. Is this the project where I have my udon event struct? Not looking like it. Actually, what would have that been in, if not this one? No, it should be this. So if we look at my... Let's go to the menu builder. Okay. All right. We need to go to. Oh, good luck with your current project. Yeah. Thanks. We're doing a bunch of animations on our UI and setting that all up by code. And right now, I'm trying to figure out where I put a struct somewhere in my project. So that would be under components, I think. Button, surely button has callbacks. Oh no, this is the styling. Okay, I don't care about that right now. I want elements. There we go. Rebindable. Rebindable has behaviors. Where are these being set? Okay, add binding listening. This happened here. Oh, I thought I had a thing for this. Oh yeah, okay. Oh, it's over in the event field. Okay. I'm just gonna make that its own script so that it can be a bit more easily found. Let's just have a folder for data types and C# put on event. This is going to be entirely what the script is. Nice and small. Alright, so with that, we can go over where I wanted to be. Which is surely somewhere. Ah, okay. Tween actions. So, tween actions themselves should have... I'll have it be here. So, public list. Put on event. Completion events. So these are just events that will run immediately afterwards. Which means I can drop this from here. Yeah, okay. And then the custom curve stuff, I need to set up as well. So where am I? Ease field. Okay, so we have our populate type fields here, and we're basically going to do the same thing with our custom curves. So basically, we have all of those easing types that I mentioned earlier, but you can also use a animation curve if you want to just make your own, because it's just easier and gets you the kind of customization you really want for a specific thing. And we need to only show the ease options if you're easing, and only show the animation curve options if you're curving. So let's go ahead and make some of those. So visual element, ease options container equals new visual element. We'll do root.add ease options container. So we'll do a toggle. This is just toggle in UI elements. Use custom curves. Oh, I need to use my consistent naming. Whoops. There we go. Use new toggle. Use custom curves. Then do I need to bind that later, or do I think I'm bind that now. Yeah. Use custom curves dot bind property. Prop use custom curves. Then root dot nope. Ease options container add build use custom curves. Then we have our ease here, and then we have animation curve crap, what is the editor for an animation curve called? Is it just called a curve? Oh, it is. Okay, it's just called the curve field. Cool. Curve field. Field custom curve. This doesn't need to be plural, so I'll go ahead and move the S on curves. Equals new curve field, custom curve. Field custom curve bind property, prop custom curve, and ease options container add field custom curve. Then we want to only enable these depending on the state of that. Now, there's a few wonky things we have to do in order to make these things display correctly and not break when we remove something from a list, because we are using property drawers instead of a custom inspector. Long story short, I'm basically going to have to fiddle with this a bit. So we have our void populate fields. We are also going to have a void toggle custom curves. We'll just have this be called show custom curves. So we're going to do this action here again, where we check whether or not the serialized property is real. It's a little annoying, but fine, whatever. We'll do field ease.set active. There's a custom extension that just uses display style flex or none based on a bool value. And we'll do prop use custom curve.bool value. And field custom curve, and invert this one. So we'll do both of these execute laters. Curve. Basically, this just slightly delays everything so everything can populate correctly before we run all these callbacks. But now we need to do a register value change callback on our toggle here. So field use custom curves. Alright, so we'll have to put this down here to make sure that everything's initialized ahead of time. Alright, so now, after all that code, if we go back into Unity, we should be able to see and hide to something at will. After it compiles. There we go. There we go, yeah. So toggling this changes from the curve to the ease drop down. The custom curve isn't as tall as the ease drop down, which is a little bit odd. Let's see if we can actually just go fix that. Fill custom curve dot style dot height equals 22, I believe is the standard for a row height. Oh, that is now slightly too tall. Crap. Well, let's just change this number slightly and see what happens. It might be 20. 20 might be the magic one there. Yep, it's 20. Alright. For some reason I really thought it was 22. Maybe it's 22 with a different styling. Okay, yeah, that works perfect. We do want to move our tween types above this. Look, our toggle here is also looking a bit funky. Not sure why it would be. It's definitely not centered correctly. Let's see if forcing it to be a bit taller fixes that. No. Oh well. None of that's actually a problem. It's just a very slight sizing difference. So don't actually care about that. Okay. So now that we got that set up, we need to make this thing actually do all of the stuff. So let's drop this, drop that. Our movie tween action here needs to require component type of movie tween action udon, which is the actual thing that's going to be running all of this. And we'll be slapping all of our information over here. So bonk bonk. Image will come from UI image. Do I have a good, easy way to make all of these arrays? I think I just have to manually do it. Okay. So basically this list is going to get pumped over to this one for all the stuff. We'll also have to do it for our udon event. Remember, our udon event is a udon sharp behavior and a string. So we'll have a callbacks public udon sharp behavior target and event event name, and that'll be a string. Now we need to actually shove all these values over. So let's go to our tween action. All right, we're going to use a method called post-process scene, or an attribute. So public static void on post-process scene. This is some editor only stuff, so we're going to do post-process scene -10, and that comes in from sharp editor callbacks or Unity engine. So we'll do if Unity underscore editor We don't actually want any of the editor stuff in a build compilation, or it will break completely. So, since it's a static, it isn't firing on this instance. It fires once for all of them. So we'll do a between actions equals object dot unity engine dot object dot find objects by type. Between action, we want to include inactive ones, and we do not care about sorting. So now we can for each our tween actions. All right, and this will give us the actual component, so we can start doing all the stuff there. All right, so we have all of these things over here that basically need to get converted over. It's going to be a little bit weird because we're basically going to turn a bunch of data structures into individual array lists, individual variable lists. So let's just go ahead, grab this. Do this. List bracket. And then equals new. There we go. All right, so now we for each our tween action dot tweens. And we do the fun part. Start float dot add tween dot start float. Now we duplicate this a bunch of times and start copy pasting. One of the advantages of having a consistent naming convention for large data structure conversions. This is one of those things that, like, you don't do outside of Udon because you don't need to. At least not in this way. But I've gotten very comfortable with doing this for all of my projects because the end result is just so functional. Is that not copyright? It's not. Alright, duration, tween types, keys, use custom curve, and custom curve. Alright, then we have a list of Udon sharp behaviors. Target goes new. A list of string. Event name equals new string. For each. What are we in? Tween action. There we go. Tween action dot completion events. Completion. Target dot add completion dot target. And similarly for event name. And now we shove everything over. We need to get the Udon action here, so udon equals between action get component between action udon. And if for some reason there isn't one and this breaks, we just need to quit out of it. So if udon return. Udon dot start float equals start float dot to array. Now we duplicate everything again. And go ahead and place all these. Yeah, I mentioned earlier this would be pretty easy. It is in fact pretty easy. It's just not fast. Yeah, this is one of the downsides of not having true custom data structures in Udon. It really kind of winds up with us having these kind of editor tools that have all of our custom data structures, and then resulting in some very strange finicking around. Have you seen Has Been Hotel? No, I have not actually. I've seen a good amount of Hell of a Boss, though it's been well over a year since I watched any of that. I know it's by the same creators, but Has Been Hotel itself, I have unfortunately not seen. Target and then event name. Okay, let's do that. All right, so let's look at Unity here. We have our between action. We need to add the udon one. So just a big old pile of nonsense. This one, our action here does a require component of it, so it will always be there. I just added it to this game object before I had that. So we see we have these big stack of arrays right here. When I hit play, all of these arrays should be at length 2. Once we actually get into play mode. I'll lean over a bit so you can see it. Yay! They're all of length 2. Awesome. Except for end color, target, and event name. Target and event name makes sense. End color does not. Did I miss end color? I did. Okay. And this is why we check. Cool. For user sanity, I want completion events to be above tweens, because otherwise it would be just a massive list. There we go. Completion events up here. Just have itself. Whoa. Not that it does anything. But, actually, I think completion events are going to be less used, so I'll put it below tweens for now. Also, we need all these variables on here. We do not need them visible. So let's go ahead and hide those for the player, or the user. Hide in inspector. There we go. Okay, that's a much more sane inspector. So we have our completion events here. That, and that. Now, the last thing that we need to do, since this is a C# script and not a Udon Sharp one, we need to get rid of it. So if we go down here, we go ahead and do destroy. Not Udon, we want tween action. That gets rid of the component for the actual runtime stuff, because if you have a bunch of C# if you have a bunch of C# scripts, oh wow, in your project, when you upload it, every time someone loads into that world, they will get a big pile of logs that basically just say like, hey, all of these things are missing, what's going on? And if it's a script that's very common, like the bakery point light, for example, that you just get a lot of worlds that have a lot of those log spams when you log in, when you join a world, which isn't ideal. Okay, now we can actually get to the Udon side of this that does all of our event stuff. We need a way of triggering this. Yeah, we'll just have a public void for it. So public void run tween. How do I have it currently looking for the tween object? Between currently does not. Okay. In that case, we'll go ahead and do a find object for a public tween, and just do hide in inspector. Find object as an attribute is a custom one that I made. So when you put it on a reference for a Unity Engine object, it just populates this value automatically if it exists. Okay, so this is going to be another long one. I'm going to sit down here. So I've been standing and bouncing to this music quite a lot. Alright, so if start float equals null, or start float dot length equals 0, return. Because that just means there's nothing here. Otherwise, we're going to for loop a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Start float dot length. All right, so now we switch the ease. No, we did the tween type. There we go. Switch tween type I, and auto-populate that. Was this not in the world UI tween? Why does it need to declare this? Oh, because tween type is the name of the variable as well. Oh, okay, that's fine. All right. So the way this is set up, my tweening system immediately starts tweening towards a target variable, meaning it doesn't set what it is right away. So if you want to manually set it, you'll have to do that ahead of time. This is largely a good way of doing this for the sheer amount of, especially for like UI animations. You don't really care about where something is at the moment. You're like, this needs to get to X. But for this kind of tooling, Should I have a bool for like declaring a start value? Because all of my stuff does. Okay. That's going to be a bunch more work, but I think it's completely worth it. So let's have a public bool use start value. All right, so we're going to change a bunch of stuff here now. Just because I happened to not think of this before. But it's too good of an idea for me to pass up on. Use start value. Let's do that down here. Toggle. This would be field use start value equals new toggle. Use start value. Field dot bind property. Use start value. But now we need to do essentially the same thing as our these options. Okay. So now we need to basically do this again. Actually, we don't really even need this container. That can just go into root because we're not manually clearing anything. Oh, I just rubbed my shoulders and realized how much I needed to rub my shoulders. Oh, remember to get some stretches and movement in. Don't sit at your desk too long. Oh, I think it's recommended to take at least like a 30-second break every 30 minutes to like stretch and everything, which is completely doable so long as you actually make yourself remember it. That's always my big issue. All right, start value toggle. We care about nothing else right here actually. Yeah, okay. So we'll take our prop start value and start using it over here. And we will basically use this at the beginning of every start line. Okay. Wow, that's actually basically done. Cool. Okay. That went a lot faster than I expected. So now we need to actually do stuff with this information. Bonk, bonk. Let's go ahead and pass this over. So we have our udon.use start value equals between action use start is not part of the between action. Okay, yeah, that's gonna have to be here. to array. Cool. What? Oh, it's because this isn't set to be an array. Sorry, it's instinctual at this point. All right, use start value. So now we set up a bunch of stuff. This is an udon, so we can't actually use throw new argument out of range exception. We'll just do debug log warning. Tween type I is not implemented. This. All right. Now position. Let's look at our tween stuff. If use position, nope. Start. What did I call it? Use start value. There we go. All right, I'm gonna have to copy a little bit from how I was handling this. Actually, yeah, okay, so we'll do transform target transform transforms. What do I call this? Target transform. There we go. Dot set position. Oh, right. This is just position. Equals start position. Start vector 3 I. Then we do tween dot set position. Oh, what is my naming convention? Set tween? No. Tween pause. There we go. Tween pause. Target transform. End vector 3 I. Duration I. And ease I. So this is going to be a little bit on the slow side to implement, but should be fine. Set position X. Start float I. Then pause X. And float I. Do swap those to be Y. And swap these to be Z. And for local position, we'll copy the first one here. Honestly, I don't think we need this declaration. I think every time we can just do this. Technically, it's less efficient to do this for all of the ones that don't exist, but I don't care. It's fine. That performance benefit of not declaring the single variable functionally doesn't exist, so at least not in this this context. Alright, so local position between local pause. Now, I'm just going to do a little bit of a cheat. Bonk. Set local position. Then between pause local. Easy. Alright, now for the rotations. Grab this. Rotation. Start quaternion. Between rot and quaternion. And same thing, but local rotation and local rot. Scale, I'll copy over from position. Scale, there we go. Color. So now we want our image. Target image. Target image I. Oh god, I'm gonna have to stop coding after this stream for today. I can already feel my eyes glossing over from the sheer amount of programming I've done today. It also doesn't help that it's now pitch black outside at 5:20. Thanks daylight savings time going away. Yeah, it feels like it's way later than it is now. All right, between color and vector 3 color. All right, canvas group alpha. Canvas group target canvas group and oh, is this still called freaking target group? Hold on. When is this being set? Canvas group. There we go. I don't want any kind of confusion in my variables. It will be declarative, even if it means they're really long. Alpha, the start float between group of pass. Okay. Nope. Canvas group. There we go. Layout element min width. So we'll grab a layout element. Target element. No. I want target layout element. Target layout element. Now with that, we can go ahead. So okay, and height. That element. Layout element, min width. There we go. Element width. I'm fine with these functions having shorter names, but rect transform. Rect transform. Target rect transform. Target rect transform R. Okay, so this is width. How do we do that? How are we setting the width of a rect transform? Annoyingly. Set size with current anchors. Force update rect transforms. Okay. Set size with current anchors. Horizontal. And then target rect transform dot force update rect transforms. Transform height. Wait, I have a tween rect transform height, but not width. Oh, I do. I just have it named wrong. Okay. All right. Copy this for height. Instead we do vertical and height. And lastly, tween rect transform anchor position. Okay, these names are getting a lot longer. It might justify fixing some of the previous names, yeah. Layout element, width and height, color. Rotation, position are going to be the most common ones. So I'll feel fine leaving those abbreviated. All right. Finally here, rect transform target. Anchor position. Start vector 2. And end vector 2. Lastly, tween anchor position. Oh my god. Okay, I think it might be done. Go ahead and remove all those unused ones. What did I not use up here? Custom curves. Oh god. you know, that's fine. I can do that here. If use custom curve I tween dot set custom set tween curve. Oh god, I need to store the index. Okay. Right, so if I want to do a callback directly to the tween system, we need to do so with an index telling it which tween to change. So we'll do int I current, nope, int index equals -1, sure. And we just need to apply this to every tween that we call here. Then we pass in index and then custom curve I. Right, index needs to be declared to something because we don't declare it in the default layout here. And the last thing we need to do is callbacks. Oh, does my tween system only support having a single callback for every tween that it does? Yes. Okay. In that case, that makes things a lot easier on my side, even if it technically means there's a few fewer functionalities. Okay. Target. Completion callback. And this will just be a single udon event. Tween action that. Tween action event name. So now, if call, what did we call this? Callback target and callback event name. If callback target Did I just like completely misunderstand how I was doing something? This actually works fine. I didn't need to do that. That's how you know I'm getting tired. Oh, wait, nope. Nope. I was right. That isn't how this works. Okay, so I need to get the total elapsed time and run that manually. You know, screw it. It's going to be too annoying to have a proper callback event through this thing. If someone wants a callback event, then they're obviously doing a bunch of programming anyway. So I'll just do that. Drop completion callback. We no longer care about this feature. There we go. Why is it telling me that this is being turned into an int? That's fine. All right. So now, head back into Unity. Let everything compile. We hit play. We should just be able to push a button and have this cube move around. Oh, did we not add the use start position field? Field, root, field. Use start value. Oh yeah, we weren't adding it. Root.add use start value. We do need to change callback for that though. Unfortunately, it's easy enough. Field start value got changed. Populate type fields. All right, now we should have all of our options in the inspector correctly. Yep, okay. If I check that, it correctly shows me the use start fields. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and do exactly that. We'll hit play. We'll let it load into play mode. It will pump all of the data from the action over to the udon field. Then, observing, we should be able to click the drop down here and do run tween. Oh yeah. The system works. Oh, thank God. All right. The only thing that I'll change is I wanted the default tween to be the default ease type to be we ease between dot default ease. There we go. I think it's in out sign is the one that it uses. But let's go ahead, let this compile. Alright, duplicate this, bonk. Plus, still says in sign. Oh well. Unfortunate, but yeah, in out sign is like the good one. I wonder if on instantiation of this, we do public tween action ease equals between default ease. I don't think this will work, but if it does, that's nice. I should probably also change the default duration from 0 to 1. Tween action, bonk. Oh, it's still in sign. Actually, can I even change the duration then? No, it still defaults to 0. Unfortunate, but oh well. But with that, that's the whole tween action component. We basically just have an udon behavior that talks to this and says run tween, and it does all the customization that you want. So you can set up the entire tween right here in this inspector field. I kind of wish there would be a drop down for it instead of how I currently have it set up, but oh well. Honestly, this works, and I'm happy about that. So the idea of what I'm going to be doing with this is when you swap to a specific page in this, the on enable will run for some. Maybe my brain is just melted from job search and interviews, but can you give a use case for the tween thing? Where we go? Oh yeah. I incredibly feel that, however. So the general idea is right now, all of our animations for this are single action. It's something happens immediately. Something gets toggled on, something gets toggled off, a color changes, and stuff like that. Like, for example, we have this here. Bonk, bonk. This, oops, stood on the cube. This toggle here just snaps left and right. If I wanted that to ease over there in the span of 0.2 seconds, then we could set up an animation for it, or we could just set up a copy of this tween action on it and just run that whenever we wanted to do it, which works out very well. Actually, as you saw, it was a lot of work to get this system built out, but now that we have the system, it'll be incredibly easy to implement, to the point that I think I can actually do that toggle implementation here before the stream ends in 15 minutes. So let's look at the toggle. So let's just bring that one up top here. This toggle is going to get a buoy tween action on it. Actually, no, we'll have two child ones. So tweens. This will be tween on and tween off. Pull out these. These will be rect transform anchor positions for the oh, it's still called check mark. Okay, well, yeah, I guess that works for an internal name. What is its current position? -35. Okay, so We'll do that. Use start value. I don't think we worry about a start value for this. Let's do in out sign, duration 0.2 seconds. And tween on will be positive 35, while tween off will be negative 35. So now we need our toggle to know to use this. So tween action udon, tween on, and tween off. So during apply value, we can actually comment this out because that's the code that's currently moving it. We'll do if tween on. Wait, no, we want to check the bool value first. If bool value else. If tween on dot run tween. And then same thing for off. We'll use the brackets again. Alright, so this should be the code now for moving this tween back and forth. We will have to apply it onto this thing, but easy enough. Let's see, tween on, tween off. Added game object, add to Louis toggle. Louis toggle, go down here. Apply to prefab. Apply to prefab. So now, we hit play, we go over to the menu and click it. It should work. If it doesn't, we might have a problem, but there we go. Perfect. It's doing exactly what we wanted it to. 0.2 might be a little bit long. I might make it 0.15. But yeah, this is exactly the kind of animations that I wanted to use for this. So now that it's all controlled via code, everything works perfectly. And we can just go in and implement the last stuff and we'll be good. Honestly, where the menu is right now is effectively almost done. There's a bunch of performance stuff that I added to it. The styling system is there. And we got the teleports page for the different teleports. We have the credits page, which this thing I want to have a way of populating in a bunch of names from like a text file or something. But right now we have the toggles here. We have our quality settings with this multi-select here. We have our volume sliders here. And it's actually working finally incredibly well. But yeah, if I'm actually going to show off how this probably works. We have the full thing here. I moved the build menu button up here so it's a little bit easier to find than scrolling all the way to the bottom. For performance reasons, there's a toggle to enable strip layouts during build. This looks for any unessential layout elements and removes them during the build process. Things like the like horizontal layouts that automatically place stuff. It means you can't resize the menu at runtime, but outside of very specific scrolling implementations, which I have exceptions for, excuse me, that shouldn't affect anything. It should just be a performance benefit. But if someone's seeing some weirdness with it, go ahead and disable it and it works. It'll still work. In fact, that's how most menus work in VRChat, is having those layout elements still applied. Yeah, if I hit settings here, we got our icon, we got our title, we have our different pages on here. So we have our volume sliders. Technically, if I want, I can add a drop down into the this volume area. Not really a reason to thematically, but it works. The only issue that I've run into is that sometimes when you're clicking around here, this list will like unselect. And when the index of this list selection it reaches -1, so nothing's selected, it just unselects. I'm not really sure why it does that. It's a little annoying, and I would like to have it fixed, but it's at this point not a completion blocker. Yeah, it's a Unity issue, but don't get me wrong, there's a lot of Unity issues that I ran into building this system as perfectly as I could. Like I really wanted to get it to a spot that I genuinely felt really proud about, and we're there. It just, that's like the last thing that I don't have a consistent repro for. It just happens some like 1 out of 10 times, and it's annoying, but it doesn't break anything. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out. I'm also freaking tired, I'll be honest, from today. It doesn't help that it is the dark night now that it's like 6 o'clock. Yeah, I'm quite happy with this. I'll be well, honestly, I'll be pushing this to GitHub immediately after this, so I don't have to redo any of this nonsense ever again. But yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying, seeing as you're the person who commissioned me for it. But I hope everyone else here has enjoyed hanging out for the stream as well. It's a little bit early for me to be calling it here, but honestly, I think it's nice to finally have a week where it finishes slightly before 6. But yeah, thanks to everyone for hanging out. I'm really happy with how the system has been going, and I look forward to seeing everyone next week. Take care and have a good week.